Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jerry and Bulldog Nation, welcome to the Eric Deters Show. As always, we're sponsored by Deters Consulting, Parks Yoga. Check us out on all of our platforms. Well, it's pretty obvious what the top story is going to be, right? The indictment down in Florida relative to Donald Trump and the documents relating to Mar-a-Lago. You know, this is truly a travesty. And I did a Facebook Live about it last night. I'm going to get right to the points, make a few additional points relating to this. First and foremost, it was Alan Bragg, a state prosecutor, who filed those charges against Trump in New York City. And we all know they're bogus. Trump's numbers went up. The difference relative to this indictment, this is actually a federal special prosecutor, Jack Smith, appointed by Merrick Garland, which means that the Justice Department of President Biden just indicted his chief rival for the presidency. And do you think that this isn't all orchestrated? Really? The president doesn't know about it, Merrick Garland? Are you kidding me? Now, let me tell you about Jack Smith. I Wikipedia'd him last night. Refreshed my memory about this guy. You ready for this? His wife is the director or producer of Becoming, the 2020 documentary about Michelle Obama. And it says since 2018, they've been living in the Netherlands. He was a Hague Act lawyer. So they bring the guy from the Netherlands in as a special prosecutor. Unfreaking believable. A hit job. Now, here's what's wild. Espionage Act. All these terms, obstruction, blah, blah, blah. All relating to documents that were at Mar-a-Lago under lock and key, protected by the Secret Service. No giving these documents to China or anybody else. Compare that to all that we know about Hillary, all we know about Obama, all we know about the Bidens. The public, you know what? Politically, it's probably a favor. And what's really weird is the dynamic that you have to have people like DeSantis, who was smart politically, but it puts him in a bad spot, has to come out and publicly slam the indictment. You know, it's really crazy. Guess who hasn't spoken out? Mitch McConnell. Hasn't said a word. The rhinos never say a word. It's unbelievable. So the bottom line is, it is a bunch of crap. And it's another indictment of somebody in Trump world over BS. When everything going on with Biden, next topic, Biden, per James Comer, based upon what happened with this whistleblower document, is under criminal investigation. Now, let me tell you what James Comer, Congressman Comer, has pointed out. What happened was this whistleblower files one of these 1023 forms, and you know what Barr does? Instead of Barr acting on that, this is the Republican Attorney General. He just sends it to the assistant U.S. attorney in Delaware who's investigating things. And what does that guy do? Nothing. Kills it. Sits on it. Nothing. It's unbelievable. And that document spells out very specific the Burisma, the Ukrainian prosecutor scandal, the bribes, everything, black and white. Black and white. And what does he say? Oh, where's the money? Thinking that they hid the money well enough. Comer says they're tracking the money and they're going to get to the bottom of it. But this guy, the president of the current president of the United States, as vice president, accepted bribes. And the policy changed as soon as the payment was made. This guy is a corrupt criminal, and he's not indicted. His son's not indicted. It gets deep six by an assistant from the swamp. Look at Durham's report. Durham comes out and report and slams the whole Russian investigation of Trump. But does he indict anybody? No. all those lies to the FBI, the lies to the public, the testimony under oath, the lies under oath, Ray, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, nothing happens. It's disgusting. Woke House. The White House, the Woke House, is planning the biggest Pride Day ever. Charlie Kirk had an interesting idea from Turning Point USA. He said, and by the way, I love the idea, all the other candidates ought to suspend their campaigns. Actually, all the other candidates ought to drop out and say, hey, let's get behind the guy who's taken all the bullets for us and deserves it. For Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, Pompeo, all these people to be running against President Trump is disloyal as hell. DeSantis, disloyal as hell. Asa Hutchinson, he can run. He wasn't a Trump guy anyway. But these people who were part of Trump's world running against him is disloyal as hell. Inflatable border. How do you love this? Texas, Abbott, Ingenuity, putting an inflatable border up on the water. Don't you love that idea? Now, I don't know if it's impregnable with a knife or something, but still, you got to love this idea. On the Rio Grande, Texas is doing it. Well, we found out that the FBI told Twitter to crack down on Western journalists who were speaking bad about the Ukrainian war. The FBI is a political activist. The FBI and the Justice Department disgust me. I loathe them. I hate them. Remember what my advice to you is. If you're ever charged with a crime by the feds, put them on trial publicly. Don't listen to your lawyer. Your lawyer will tell you not to talk. That's bullshit advice. Bring it on. I'm never going to be charged with federal crime because I don't commit a federal crime. But if I'm ever charged with federal crime, I guarantee you right now, not only will I represent myself, I will blast their ass all day, every freaking day. That's what I would do. It's unbelievable. Johnson & Johnson. Well, they are discouraging the booster shots coming from Johnson & Johnson and suspended the COVID vax because of some blood clotting concerns. Scary stuff. Tucker Carlson exceeded 100 million viewers on a 10-minute monologue on Twitter. If you get like 3 or 4 million views on your show or 1 million views, you're doing great. So much for TV news, right? I've already covered this. This is Katie Shivani, Jack Smith's wife, who did Becoming a Michelle Obama. Unbelievable. Arnold groping. I just watched the documentary last night of Arnold. It's a 3-part on Netflix. It is great. It is great. Arnold said he did not grope the women like he was accused of doing. He didn't mean to do it. There was some rowdy behavior on some movie sets. Arnold also says that there's no heaven. Good old Arnold. I tell you, what a life. Arnold, Mr. Olympia, Mr. Universe, top all-time greatest bodybuilder. Then, all-time box office movie man. Governor of California. What a life. I think he and Donald Trump are two people that have lived the most remarkable life. Trump, because he was business, Hollywood, television, books, and all that stuff, beauty pageants, and then president of the United States. I mean, it's hard to top Arnold Schwarzenegger and Donald Trump's lives. Hard to top. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has a day. Coming up next, Eric Deters and local news. Ladies and gentlemen, American Jury and Bulldog Nation, welcome to the Eric Deters Local News, sponsored by Deters Consulting, Parks Yoga. Check us out on all of our platforms. Top story, local story. Daniel Cameron, the Republican nominee for Kentucky governor, is in Boone County at 10 o'clock. Are you out there talking to him right now? And after that, he's got a lunch at the Metropolitan Club where he's going to meet with about 20 other folks. But that's our lead story today. In law and crime, Randall Holt got busted and has been sentenced for 3 years for putting a hit out on his wife. He apparently kept trying and trying and trying. By the way, I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often. I'm just telling you. This is a wild story. Melissa Powers released yesterday the news that Michael Sweeney was shot and killed. And we all thought it was road rage because Kim Cragwell, who was with Michael Sweeney, told it was road rage. Well, here's what happened. They stopped at a convenience store, BP or something, and Kim Cragwell, who was with Michael Sweeney, bought some drugs from this guy, Mickey. And guess what? This guy got shorted a couple bucks, followed him, got mad and shot him, hit Sweeney in the head and killed him, and he crashed his car. It was not road rage. It was a drug deal gone bad. Michael Sweeney, all that. You know, this is fun. I got to tell you something. This is funny. This is a funny story, anecdote to share. I ought to do this more often. Sister Phillip was my history teacher. She was the chair at Thomas More College. And we had to say prayers in front of every class. And she talked like this. She was really short, but she was strong and tough. And you know what? She treated us like kindergartners. I mean, we're all, I was 18, 19. These other guys were 20, 21. She treated us like we were kindergartners. But she told us something I've never forgotten. She says, never go someplace that you won't want to be found dead. That's good advice. Michael Sweeney, he's now gone out bad. Regardless of whatever happens in his life, he's now going to be known as a guy that got murdered over shorting a drug dealer.
$2.
$2. Apparently it was a $2 short. Now Michael Sweeney isn't going to be remembered as part of the Otto family. He's going to be remembered like that. But you didn't think of that. Angelo Mattajorda. This guy is being charged with crimes, messing around with a 14-year-old for some time in Boone County. A 14-year-old. I think he was 29. The Cincy plan to curb violence. FTAB, Purevol, and all of them got, remember, it didn't take long, did it? They got a plan to curb violence. Come, put community together. The only way to curb violence is put people in jail that commit the violence. Jeff Pastor plea, new development. McFarland says he's not sure whether he's going to accept the plea or not. We'll see what happens. In local news, Boone County, big story. And I got this from my tip. Boone County last night tabled the RFID card vote. This was the card. They're going to track students getting on a bus, library, lunch, and all that stuff. They tabled it, and they were going to send a survey to the parents. So, looks like we're helping out here. Keep it up, folks. If the parents like it, I guess, oh well. But it's the beginning. It is a slippery slope you should not want to have begin. In Kentucky, this is wild. The Kentucky transgender law is going to turn, there's a section where instead of using the word and, they use the word or. So now there's going to be a big legal battle over one word or. That happens all the time in law, folks. And you get some crazy rulings, some very unfair rulings. Depends on what court you have. Kentucky Power wants a rate hike. Imagine that. Kentucky State Board of Elections have certified the May primaries. It's now official. I finished fourth. Officially. Dale Hollow and Lake Cumberland Lakes, the water levels are down low. See what happens. And in sports, Alex French caught that home run ball by Dela Cruz, and he's a smart kid. You know what he did? He got it to him. You don't think that this kid now, who is I think he's a junior football player at Moeller, now has a lifetime friend in Dela Cruz? Think about that. This guy will be friends with Dela Cruz for life. Probably worth more than money, I'd guess. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Coming up, look at this wonderful new profile picture. Jamie Spindley in World News.
Hello, today's latest world news. Around 15,000 people in central Quebec have been evacuated from their homes and around 20,000 across Alberta, Nova Scotia, and Northwest Territories. More than 9.8 million acres of land have been burned so far. Global help arrives as Quebec fights historic fires. A natural weather known as El Nino has begun in the Pacific Ocean, adding heat to already a warming planet. US scientists confirm that 2024 will be the world's hottest year yet. A 10-year-old girl was rescued after spending the night lost alone in the freezing cold Cascade Mountains in Washington State, USA. Over 100 search and rescue team members and 2 helicopters were involved. And in sports, it's the Champions League final tomorrow. Manchester City will take on Inter Milan. The game will take place in Istanbul. Until Monday, have a great weekend. Take care.